Hey, everybody, welcome to Common Sense Unleashed. So, today we're looking at a hearing in the House Financial Services Committee about cryptocurrency. Very, very interesting. I want you to tune in and hear what he has to say. Here we go.
One of the more eye-opening things that I've seen since arriving here is how I've seen how some of our friends on the other side of the aisle will try to, I would describe it as weaponize the regulatory system to try to
And we have seen that with Gary Gensler, former chair of the SEC, how he basically just went on a tear, dropping lawsuits on various companies, Coinbase, XRP, Ripple, all types of different ones that he opened up just a can of legal mess on. So he's absolutely spot on. Let's continue hearing what he has to say.
simply prevent access to types of forms of capital. And it strikes me, I did a little research here, and the country has roughly 334 million people in it. Most recent data shows of that anywhere from 27 to 28% of the people in our country either own or use crypto. So, based on I was a solid C student in math, but based upon that, I think that's around 90 million people in this country who have confidence in crypto.
Wow. Estimate his estimate there on basic math. 330, I think he said 334 million people in a country, 25%, around 90 million people right now, as of February 2025, are estimated to use cryptocurrency or to at least have some. That's impressive. You think about that. Wow. Who'd have thought that? I mean, 90 million people just in the United States. That number has had to have grown significantly, in the past 10 years. So let's keep on listening and hear what he has to say about it.
And what it seems has been happening by the previous administration and by the other side is an attempt to try to use the regulatory framework to simply tell those 90 million people that they can't invest or they can't own in crypto. And I can't frankly think of anything that is more antithetical to a free enterprise system. So I first of all thank and those of you.
That's pretty amazing. And he's so true. We just literally mentioned that. They used it, the SEC used its power, its legal power, its authority to basically quelch the American people's desire to know or to learn about or to invest or to use cryptocurrency. It's no more apparent that you just look back over the last 4 years. So this is so good that this is coming out to light, and I'm so glad to hear that because it is indeed, in my opinion, a frontier. We don't get many frontiers in your lifetime. They say this is the last frontier. I mean, you imagine the settlers when they went back, in the late 17, what is it, basically the 1800s, all of the 1800s. The last frontier was westward. Planting your stake in the ground, and it was wild and exciting, and we don't get many of those. The moon landing is kind of a frontier. You can call Tesla and SpaceX kind of trying to open a new frontier, going to Mars. Well, here's kind of one of those frontiers. It's cryptocurrency. It's kind of a frontier that people are just, well, evidently, quite a few are looking at and going, this is interesting. But the SEC has been governing it and killing it for so long. All right, let's keep on moving.
You who are providing these opportunities for just ordinary consumers to be able to participate in a meaningful way in this new digital marketplace. I think it's digital currency is not only is the future, frankly, it is the present when nearly a third of the people in the country are actively using this. And has been, and I certainly don't want to repeat comments that have already been made so well by other members of the committee, but the regulatory framework of trying to add in, the pressure to the banks to not engage with crypto, the pause letters, the opaque, I guess is the way to describe it, supervisory warning letters, and then of course the threats tied to the camels rating as well. And so, what we know about any kind of currency, any kind of thing is, if it's a legitimate matter, which I would say, or legitimate business, which this member certainly thinks that crypto is, then what's going to happen is if there's simply attempts to stifle it, it's going to go somewhere else where it is allowed, whether it's in industries, I believe, banking with state-regulated banks, or many cases going offshore. So, Mr. Grewal, I'll just ask this question to you. One, it does seem to me that as U.S. regulators are impacting the American digital asset community, it would appear, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that it is impacting our ability to compete globally. And if that is in fact the case, sir, are there any other countries that are more welcoming to that financial innovation?
Thank you, Congressman. There's no question that the sclerosis that we've all operated under here in the United States for the last many years, I will put it that way, regarding legislation regulation.
He called it a sclerosis. Basically, the arteries are just clogged. That's what he's saying. Wow, that's a pretty good term, and it's true. And he was kind by saying the last many years, but it's obviously been the last 4 years. So let's keep on going.
Has led to a flight from the United States to other jurisdictions. The Europeans, for example, have passed a market in crypto assets form of legislation that, while not perfect, offers a reliable, steady framework within which to operate. That has drawn capital. That has drawn jobs. It was mentioned earlier, Singapore, another global leader in cryptocurrency regulation. They too are drawing capital, jobs, and frankly, enthusiasm and creativity that belongs here in the United States. While crypto is a global technology and a global industry, so much of the most important innovations actually were developed here in America. And yet, through this absence of regulation, this sclerosis, we've simply pushed entrepreneurs and risk takers, appropriate risk takers, the kinds of risk takers we used to be proud of in this country, to other parts of the world.
Wow, that's straight on. Those risk takers, the ones that have thought outside the box, if you will. The SEC has basically crippled them, and they should be legitimately ashamed of themselves for doing that. It's a complete wrong approach, and you have to wonder, was there some alternate motive? You just have to wonder based on the performance and what they did, especially to like companies like XRP Ripple. So yeah, really, really interesting. Well, hope you've enjoyed this little episode. And hey, we talk about everything here. Common sense approach, common sense unleashed. Leave your comments below. Appreciate you watching. Have a good one.